Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we're going back to our usual haunt. Ontario feels like home at this stage. Though as we will see in this one, Woodstock, Ontario, not exactly something sweet something. In the mighty year of 2009, an event, well, shocked everyone, to be honest. Remember when we had Bernardo and Homolka on? This is in that same ballpark. Unfortunately, in quite a few ways, so there you have it. Let's give it a go. So it's off to Woodstock. We go, not that one. This one is located in beautiful Ontario. And why does it sound so familiar? Oh yeah, Wet Loafer. That was a wetty. So it's about an hour and 30 from Toronto home to about 40,000. One of those 40,000 in 2009 was 8-year-old Victoria Stafford. Victoria, Tori, was born in July 2000 to parents Rodney and Tara. She was born in Woodstock, the younger sister to her older brother Darren. In 2002, at age 2, Rodney and Tara divorced, with Tori and her brother going to live with the mother and her family. As a kid, she was a tomboy, didn't mind getting stuck in the mud, loved bugs, animals, all that kind of thing. A big personality, let you know she was knocking around, the lively sort. A little pistol, her grandmother said. A gregarious person, the type who would yap away to anybody. Which made what happened on the 8th of April 2009 is all the more disturbing. That Wednesday, after school, Tori was due to go over to her dad's house, hang out for a bit, and then go see some friends, watch a movie. Alright? All good. If that had happened. That day, Rodney had some classes and was running a little late. At around 4 PM, he gave Tara a buzz. Said, a few minutes behind, I'll pick her up soon. Tara said cool beans, she's not home yet anyway from the school, she went to the elementary school. Oliver Stevens Public School, located on Fife Avenue in downtown Woodstock. Right across from Crescent Care. Now the school was only a couple of blocks from Tori's home, so when Tori didn't, get there, home. Well, it was odd Tori hadn't come home when the numbers after 4 went up. Really odd. Darren, for example, her older brother, he would usually walk Tori home, but he hadn't that day, he had to walk some other kids home. He then went back to the school, was looking for Tori, couldn't find her. He went home. Where's Tori? I don't know. Tori's grandmother, who lived with them, she was the first to, was gonna put on the boots, maybe have a go, I'm sure she'll be there. She wasn't. Then calls were made to Tori's friends. Nothing. Finally, Tori's grandmother and Tori's mother, they got in the car, they started driving around the streets, seeing if, she was wandering around somewhere. They saw jack shit. Tori was nowhere. At 6 PM that evening, Tori called Rodney to see if he knew where Tori was, and they called the police. Rodney's place was searched, his family contacted anyone? No. Okay, hit the bricks. They find nothing. She was supposed to come home from school that day. She just vanished. With a missing kid like this, you don't really want to waste any time. That might come up again. And it was on the 9th of April, the day after, posters, police announcements, all that jazz. And from there it ramped and ramped and ramped up, eventually becoming one of the largest investigations in Ontario ever. Boats, whirlybirds, dogs, you name it. It was out and out in force. They found sweet fuck all, to be honest. She just vanished. They said at the time, quote, "The ground search has not located something that would lead us to believe foul play may be a factor."
Ontario Amber Alert in effect.
As frustrations grew and grew, the search was ongoing and they found nothing. The fact that an Amber Alert wasn't raised immediately kind of ticked people off. Maybe the fact that Tara, Tori's mother, didn't immediately contact the police when she didn't come home. Hindsight is 2020. You know, when a kid goes missing, an Amber Alert, goes all over the radio and whatnot. But this didn't happen. Because they have a criteria. You're missing, but not that missing. It's a kid, for fuck's sake.
It's a high priority call. We do not have enough information at this point to support an Amber Alert. It does not meet the criteria at all, and we have no information with the 3 criteria it has to meet. None of those have been met, so it's not an Amber Alert at this point.
The 3 criteria are: 1, a child under 18 has been abducted; 2, the child was in danger of serious harm; 3, there was enough descriptive information about the child or abductor so that a media alert would be helpful. This was changed, rightly so, after what happened. So the eyeball ground, boots on the ground search went nowhere. But when they searched CCTV near Tori's school, that was the first crack in the case. What they saw was this. Tori being led away from the school by whom? They didn't know. I mean, that's a potato. That could literally be anybody. But, people were kind of hazarding a guess as to who it was. It seemed to be an adult female. Tori, doesn't look like she's in distress. She seems calm and willing to go with this person. Adult female, brown hair, Tori. Seems like they trust this person. See, Tori's life at home, maybe it was a little worse than many thought. Tara was addicted to Oxycontin, and Rodney, the father, he wasn't really around a whole lot. This, combined with some rumors, combined with a missing child and nothing to show for it, well, tempers flared.
Quit pointing a finger at me, quit pointing fingers at everybody else until there's somebody that we can point a finger at.
The rumors are kind of never ending, aren't they?
It's
ridiculous.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And the point of the matter is there's nobody to point a finger at, so point it at me or my family, and I just think it's disgusting. I've heard all kinds of shit, and it's pardon my language, but it's really starting to frustrate me. People have said, I don't come out here and bawl and cry in front of the cameras and carry on, and there was somebody who put their kids in their car seats and drove into a lake with their kids, and they went out there and bawled and cried and carried on, and they were the person who was responsible for it. I'm just not the kind of person that can come out here and cry for the cameras every single day.
Well, what are you kind of saying? Because I was crying and showing my emotions and stuff, I'm behind this?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that...
That's the way I took what you just said.
No, I'm saying that people get angry because I don't come out here and I can't cry in front of cameras. And so people are holding that against me and saying that, she's acting this way, so she must have something to do with it. That's just the way that I am. I can't come out here and open up for a bunch of strangers. And if people can't understand that, then...
Sorry, this is making me really frustrated, Tara, because this is your daughter. It doesn't matter who should be standing in front of you. I could have the world standing here and I would cry. I wouldn't care. Tori is missing.
Do you think, Rodney, I'm not going to stand here and fight with you about it, okay?
You know what? From now on, any of these press conferences, okay, if you want to do them, continue them. I will do mine elsewhere because, no, you are showing a total lack of support for your daughter.
You know what? You want to talk about a lack of support for my daughter. Where the hell were you for the last 9 years?
Okay.
Where were you for the last 9 years?
Check every one of these cameras, every one of these media, every one of those police officers.
You've been at them now, but where were you for the last 9 years?
I have told them everything from the beginning. Yeah, walk away like usual, Tara.
You're the one who's the fucking thing walking away.
Yeah.
Rodney, can you come back for a second?
A composite sketch of the woman seen walking away with Tori was released. Didn't help Tara's case, let's be honest. And when Tara, having drug problems, becomes public knowledge, well, what's interesting is that while the rumour mill cranked up into full action, looking at Tara, mama do bad, the police had their own line of inquiry that they kept close to their chest, one helped out by Tara. See, many thought, hey, that's Tara in the video, but one person thought, no, close but no cigar, not Tara, Terri. Terri-Lynne McClintic, 18 years old, and she was brought in by the police. Terri had handed out flyers for missing Tori, and now she was in the hot seat. She would be questioned and arrested, in fact, on unrelated charges to whatever happened to Tori, held in custody and on the radar. Ultimately, Ontario Provincial Police would step in as the search was stalling. It was then, about 2 weeks after Tori went missing, that they finally said yeah, it is what it looks like, an abduction.
And whether described as a missing person or an abduction, it makes no matter. The investigation is the same process.
So they've got this person who was seen in the video, the last anybody's seen of Tori, in custody, but they're not getting anything out of her. Tara, Tori's mother, was linked to Terri. God, this is confusing. They had met a number of times. They weren't exactly like best buds, but they were. It was due to drugs essentially. They had like the same dealers and methadone clinics, and it's like one big shit ratatouille, but with no answers. While Terri was in custody, she would get a visitor, her fella, named Michael Rafferty. He was 28, 10 years older than Terri. And he was then, while you're here, pal, you don't mind just your questions, shoot the shit. He said, yeah, no bother, I'm dating Terri. Nothing serious, mind you. We'll learn a lot more about Michael Rafferty later. But he was happy to yap away with the police. He was, hey, I'm helpful, like that.
Would you consider her your girlfriend or?
My girlfriend?
Yeah. No. Like, has there been anything between you and Terri-Lynne intimately at all?
We're friends.
Just friends?
Okay. So.
Have you watched the video?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. What did you think watching that video? Did you recognize anyone at all?
No, I didn't recognize anyone, no.
Have you ever observed Terri-Lynne wearing any type of certain jackets at all, white jackets?
I've seen her, like, she has a long, dressy white one, I think.
Yeah.
She has a long, dressy black one.
Yeah.
Those are the only two coats that I know. Like, one, they sway in the wind as she walks.
Do you recall around the 8th of April, then, what you were doing that day? That Wednesday?
I don't know what I was doing. I mean, most of the time I'm just zipping around town or something. That's about it.
It was on May 24th, 2009 that Terri, stewing in jail, had enough.
I haven't bullshit.
I know.
I'm kind of amazed that people don't realize interrogation rooms are recorded. Because Terri obviously didn't. Look at her. Jason's here. Glad he's gone. Ooh, have a nice little sup of the old cup of joe. And then, oh shit, he's back again. Right here. Bring on the waterworks. Just remember that as Terri tells her story.
I could hear her. I just seen her on the ground. I turned my head away again. I could hear her, like, the sound of her voice, like, just grow fainter. I could hear, like, moaning, like.
For a case that's kind of a little bit complicated, convoluted, it started out very simply. They decided that morning what they were going to do, and they did it.
Discussion, like, previous to the day of the event, with Mick saying, oh, would you ever kidnap somebody? We went through a whole thing where, oh, you're just talk, you never do it, you're just talk. You're gonna do that today, you're gonna do that today. He had made the comment about young female, so it'd be easy to manipulate. Victoria was pretty much the first younger female that came out. If I knew like what the outcome of that would have been, I never would have.
They decided they were going to take a girl, and they did. Terri led Tori away to Michael's car. Then they drove away on the highway. Michael turned on the radio to see if an Amber Alert, had been raised. It hadn't. They drove northeast, stopping off for petrol, pills and coffee. Then they went to a Home Depot. Michael stayed in the car with Tori. Terry went inside and he asked her to buy.
He wanted a claw hammer, a garbage bag. Garbage bags, like a box of garbage bags. I was really contemplating like whether or not I wanted to go back up to the vehicle or not. My biggest reason for even going back to the vehicle was because Tori was there, and I knew at least while I was there, I could at least make it somewhat better for her.
And then they drove.
It seemed like you kicked her a couple times, like a garbage bag over her head.
Where did he hit her with the hammer?
And
We need to bring her home.
I know that, and that's why I've been here. Like, I'm not. Tori was left at that spot. Put rocks over her, like.
Is there anything else you're holding back? Because we might as well get it done now. We got the tears going. Everything's happening now. I don't want to have to put you through this again.
I don't want to. I go through it.
Okay. Is there anything else? When I go away and I evaluate everything that's happened today, and I start looking at it with the experts that are going to help me assess your credibility, am I going to have to come back and say, Terry, there's something that's missing here?
No. No. I've thrown everything out, like everything that I've laid it all out. That's it. And we drove.
Terry told them everything. I mean, in a way. Now they knew Tori was dead, though. Michael Rafferty was arrested. Michael and Terry had only been dating about 4 months by this time, and they didn't waste much of it. They lived in Woodstock, Michael with his mother. And let's talk Terry first, who had a troubled upbringing. Foster homes, drugs. Oxycontin had quite a hold on Woodstock. There was also an incident involving a dog and a microwave, so... Michael, not so much. No criminal record or anything like that. In fact, he was completely under the radar. But he was actually just really good at, covering his tracks. He was a serial cheater, purveyor of, child porn, pimped out previous girlfriends, and was consistently active on Plenty of Fish, the dating website. He was a serial cheater. He would contact loads of women simultaneously, even going on a date the day after they did what they did to Tori. For work, well, his friends would say he was pretty much always unemployed, other than some landscaping work here and there, but when he was on a date, you better believe he was a dancer. He owned his own contracting company. Oh wait, no, he had cancer. Wait, no, his mother had cancer. Oh, he bought his mother a house and he lost a child. He was always ready to make people feel sorry for him. We'll see a lot of that very soon. Honestly, just an all-around piece of shit, which I want you to remember when you look at this interview where he basically acts as like a fucking baby. Starting with how poor Baba gets a blankie.
I got a few things I'll talk to you about. As I told you, my name is Chris. My last name is Lone. And I understand your name is Michael. Now, do you go by Mike or Michael? What's your preference?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I'll probably call you Mike. So unless that really offends you, just leave it with me. And we're talking about the missing person one. Tori Stafford went missing. I know you were following a little bit in the media, and you follow some little bits and pieces that there was behavioral sciences people involved, right? And I know it's a pretty good feeling to be involved in something like this and the police don't come near you for over a month, right? Police don't talk to you till May 15th. It's the first time that they come around. So you were feeling pretty comfortable for a little while, okay? You're completely under the radar. I'm going to assess risk here and see, number one, do you even feel bad about what you've done? That's the first thing I look for. And number two, do I think, okay, he doesn't feel bad, so in turn he's probably going to do this again because he really doesn't care about it the first time it's happened. Okay?
I didn't do anything.
Well, that's not entirely true.
That is entirely true.
No.
I didn't do anything.
No, you can try and cement yourself into that, okay? But at the same time, you're not doing yourself any good by not being truthful here, okay?
His defense, it's shoddy at best. Poor me. I'm the most innocent guy that ever lived. Stick that up your maple syrup.
I know,
but I did not do what you think I did.
I know you did. We're past that, okay? We're past that, Mike. Okay?
The officer wasn't having any of it.
Okay?
No.
What the fuck was that noise?
You want me to tell you things I didn't do so I can get locked up for the rest of my life for this.
What's your biggest fear or your biggest concern now that you've been charged with this? What's your biggest concern here?
Losing my life.
Okay.
It means losing my life. It means not being able to have a life anymore. It means not taking care of my mom. It means not having to do the things that I do every day.
He doesn't really move from the head down, sucking on his thumb position at all. And he didn't confess or come clean at any point when they did everything. They tried to break him down over hours. They did the good cop, bad cop. Nothing.
Terri-Lynne was asked today if she wanted to call a lawyer 4 times. She said no, all 4 times. She went through 2 boxes of Kleenex. Alright? She says on the 8th of April, Wednesday the 8th of April 2009, at 3:30 in the afternoon, you drop her off at Pavey, south of Fife, south of the public school, where Tori walks out of. You tell her to get a girl, and you want her young. She walks up the street, you drive up to the old age home where you park your car. She walks up to Tori. Tori's nice to her. She trusts her. She holds her hand for a little bit. She walks up the street with her. Terri-Lynne tells her about her little dog, gets her across the street to your car, opens the back door. Tori doesn't like it anymore. She pushes her in the car. You start driving. She says she's freaking out. She says she's worried about you. She's scared about what you're going to do. And you pull into a farmer's field, right across from a house, to the point where you're even asking her if anybody can see you. She says she goes for a walk, because she doesn't want to see what happens. And then she comes back. And you're not sitting in the front seat anymore, Mike. You're sitting in the back seat. And she's not liking what she sees. So she walks away again. Then she comes back, and you make her hold one of those garbage bags while you put some of your clothes and her jacket and a hammer in the garbage bag. Then you drive to a gas station. She never sees Tori again.
Terri-Lynne's a liar.
This is your opportunity. Terri-Lynne's sitting right here. Tell her she's a liar. You've had no problem saying without her in the room.
Terry's a liar.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping.
I'm not even looking at her.
I don't need to look at her.
He just shot himself. Michael and Terry were both charged with murder. Terry tried to help the police find Tori. By the way, she wasn't doing that out of the goodness of her heart. Yeah, you'll see. She drew a map to where she thought she was buried. They were out in force about an hour from Woodstock, but they actually had great difficulty locating where she was. After all, apparently only Michael fully knew, and he wasn't talking. It was on the 20th of June that one officer, the guy who actually interviewed Terry, working off a hunch and her map, eventually discovered Tori under a pile of rocks. She was finally put to rest.
Those human remains have now been removed and are on their way to the Center of Forensic Sciences, where forensic identification examination will be conducted. And we are hopeful that those are in fact the remains of Victoria Stafford.
It was in April 2010, Terri-Lynne McClintic pled guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison with no parole for 25 years.
Sick. We're back.
Any comment, Michael? Where's Tori? Tori?
Back up, folks. Back up, folks.
Everybody back off this van right now.
Back off. Back off.
Off the van now.
Come on, guys.
I told you 5 feet, didn't I?
Michael's trial began in March 2012, and during that trial, good old Terry, best bud, the gruesome twosome, of course, she took the stand, and she, story just, few corrections to make to it, maybe, nothing major, just, he raped her, but Terry killed her, horribly, with the hammer. Terri was deciding that she was going to take the blame. Whether she was trying to do him a favor or that's the actual truth, we don't know.
Where did he hit her with the hammer?
And
Help me assess your credibility. Am I going to have to come back and say, Terri, there's something that's missing here?
no. No.
So when the defense heard this, they pounced. He has been saying he's innocent the entire time. He's clearly innocent. Who looks stupid now?
McClintic admitted she was the only one who hit the girl with the hammer.
After a 2-month trial, Michael was sentenced to life in prison with no parole for 25 years. You'd think that'd be the end of the story, this horrific tale of, an innocent young girl being taken by these absolute monsters for diabolical stuff. And then, they get caught, they go to prison, they won't be sipping, Tim Hortons for quite some time. But no, doesn't end there. Michael, well, he immediately appealed, just drawing out the pain for the family. It came back to the courts in 2016, 4 years after he was sentenced, and it was immediately dismissed, so... Terri, on the other hand, she's some bollocks. In 2018, she moved to an Indigenous healing lodge in Saskatchewan, where she'd have a grand old time. See, the thing was that basically anybody could identify as Indigenous if they wanted. You didn't need to prove it or anything, so...
Non-Indigenous offenders do come to these healing lodges, but they have to be committed to Indigenous programming and spirituality.
Anybody can be Indigenous if you believe. So, give you that minimum security person where I can just chill out. Weirdly, Terri was first classified as maximum security, then medium, even though she attacked another inmate. She's a really good actor. That caused quite a bit of stir.
A lot of people are upset about what has happened, and you can see probably behind me a lot of purple. That was Tori Stafford's favorite color and really has become a symbol for people here. Earlier, they were chanting, "Send her back."
But each time I walk past one of you guys and you guys give me support, gives me that much more strength to stand here and do what I want to do. And that's to stand up for my daughter.
Clearly, what's required is a firm and immediate directive from the Minister to Corrections Canada to put McClintic back behind bars where she belongs.
And she was eventually moved back to a regular prison. And that just about wraps up this one. Pretty, horrible. Tragic. Just terrible all around. I really do think they're up there with, Bernardo Malka. All that kind of stuff. What's going on in Ontario? Lads, here. What's in the water? Maybe you could giddy up on the not killing. In prison, Michael is still a bitch, who had been getting his mother to pay for his protection in prison, her sending tens of thousands of dollars, up to about $30,000, to inmates and their spouses so they don't beat the shit out of them. She eventually had a heart attack, lost her house, and then died. The others thought he was just getting her to pay these people to do shit for him so it would make his time in prison easier. Don't know why other prison inmates would make his time easier for what he did. Just saying. I usually try to end these on a lighter note. Difficult in this one. Man. Terri and Michael are really just plain cunt. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Listen here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon in the next L1. Till then, please look after yourselves. Take care. Mike out.